I wanted to mention a big break in this murder case. And I wasn't really following it, but my other half, Courtney, followed it very closely. And she joins us now, everyone. Courtney, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. Hello, Courtney.
Hi.
Yeah.
Where are you? Come on over.
Courtney is, we don't have a second camera.
We're having, there are requests that you turn the camera away from you.
Or let's just get her standing next to you.
Courtney.
We got to see
She
her.
will not, well, let me just explain. It's, first of all, there's a certain charming irony to two people who are not on camera being so insistent that I put Courtney in.
How are you?
Yeah, and
Fabulous producer.
Yeah,
so all I'm saying is this is something I don't want to get, we can discuss this another time, probably reveal some other big thing, but she doesn't want her picture taken at all. Like, we'll be in a group.
Oh, she's
and
gorgeous,
she
though.
will not stand there next to me. Now, maybe it's that she doesn't want to stand next to me. That's just occurring to me now.
It's definitely that.
Yeah, but I don't want you to think it's anything personal to our show. This is she carries this.
That's what I thought when I first saw your Instagram. I'm like, oh, she doesn't want to be embarrassed.
Yeah.
Aw,
So
Court.
we were in a village in Laos, okay, and we're there with the whole village. So it's kind of a wide shot. We're there with like maybe 30 people in the picture, and it was a terrific trip. And we just finished this ceremony that they do there, and so she's there with the group, and they take a picture. So I said, oh, my God, I'm so excited that we were here. I really want to post this picture. She said, if you do, blur my face.
Oh,
So I had to
Courtney.
blur her. It was the weirdest thing. People are thinking, people ask me, why do you blur her face? Isn't that insulting to her? Insulting? She asked me to do it.
It's because
So-
she's in witness protection and she doesn't
Why are
want
you
you to
yelling?
know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, but she's been good enough to sit in with us now. Courtney, the story is one of this Delphi murder. It's the Delphi Murders. 2 young girls were killed, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So, of course, I love true crime podcasts. You know that. And I was so surprised last week when they arrested somebody as a suspect.
Now,
for
why
the
were you
murders.
surprised? It's been a long time.
It's been a long time. The murders happened February 13th of 2017.
I see.
And what was really interesting about these murders was that the suspect was caught not only on camera, but through a video. You could hear an audio recording of the murderer telling the girls sort of infamously down the hill. And he had taken them down this hill where, unfortunately, he proceeded to kill these 2 young girls. So
They were 14, is that what you said? Yeah.
yeah, so there was 2 girls. One of the girls' names was Abigail Williams. She was 13. And then Liberty German, she was 14. And this happened in Delphi, Indiana, which is a very small town. I think there was 3,000 people that lived there when the murders happened. It's just north of Indianapolis. And it happened in broad daylight. I think that the photos were taken at around 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Snapchat. And from what I understand, everything had happened by 3:30 in the afternoon.
So
in
go ahead.
in a public area. So, but it was just heartbreaking. And there was a lot of attention on these murders, not only because the girls were so young, but because there was this shot of one of the girls on the bridge, and just behind her in the distance is the murder. And
Wow,
so
that's just insanely eerie and awful.
It really is. And
So how did they catch this guy then?
You know, they're not really saying very much about his arrest.
There were more than 70,000 tips that were submitted since the murders in 2017. 70,000.
Yeah, he is 50 years old. His name is Richard Allen, and he's a pharmacy tech. He's a husband and has a child who's an adult. There's actually a photo of his daughter on the bridge, sort of in the same location of where Abby, one of the young girls, was
Oh my
photographed.
God, that's
on the
just
bridge.
chilling.
Yeah,
That's
which
just
is
awful.
chilling.
Yeah.
And there's actually a photo of him in a bar, and just behind him is the sketch of the suspect. So some very strange
He was at a bar where
Yeah.
the actual photo, the sketch artist had put it together based on descriptions, and he's in a picture with that behind him?
That just behind him, yeah.
God.
I know. And You know, they're not saying very much. They've sealed any documents around his arrest. And as I know it, that'll be for at least 30 days. And then the pretrial conference is January 13th, 2023. And they expect the murder trial to begin in March of next year. So
it was interesting in looking at some of the stuff that you were showing me that the sketch artist actually, and I guess these sketches are based on descriptions from witnesses, this sort of thing. I mean, I don't know where the sketch artist came up, but anyway, the sketch artist comes up, of course, as you know, with the suspect's picture, and it looks really very much like the suspect. I mean, it's really a triumph of those sketch artists that they were able to approximate his actual look.
Yeah, because even as close a resolution as they could get to, or as high a resolution as they could get with finding him in the shot that was taken, it was actually posted on Snapchat. It still was difficult to see his face exactly, but you could see roughly like the shape and sort of the size of his body. And there were some, I think, parts of the photo that they could distinguish enough to be able to create a sketch. But yeah, it's really interesting. And then this haunting audio that was captured through Libby having the foresight of putting her video on her phone and capturing that so that that would, of course, be able to be used as evidence for, unfortunately, what happened. So,
wow. I know the entire community, I'm just reading about how the effect on the community was profound. People were scared. People were afraid to go out. People were afraid to have their kids go out. I mean, these girls are 14, 13 and 14, I think. So the idea is somehow, you normally wouldn't be afraid of having, like young teens go out. But I mean, it was a small community. And this guy was getting away with it for a long time.
I mean, there was apparently 3,000 people that lived in Delphi at the time. And I think on February 14th, about 500 people showed up to search around the bridge at like 6 a.m., which was the day after they went missing, which tells you how much the community came together to look for these poor innocent girls.
They found their bodies there at the near the river, near the water.
Yeah, so they found the bodies about half a mile away in a culvert. And so several of the searchers, I think there was 2 or 3 of them, found the bodies. They started to find articles of clothing, and then just after that, they found the bodies.
Just awful.
But they've sealed the autopsy reports and everything. So there's a lot of rumor going around about exactly what happened to them. That I won't repeat because it is rumor, but we can only hope that justice will be served in January.
Yeah.
So,
Courtney, thank you. Any questions from Kim or
Kim? How are you?
Yeah, or
No,
John? Do you have
I feel
any?
like I've learned a lot about this story, but I was thinking of Courtney last night with a whole different story. We were trick-or-treating, and a friend pointed at a pink mansion and said, "See that house right there? That's where a lady died." And I said, "Oh, what happened?" She said, "Well, they originally thought she fell down the stairs. It turns out her husband pushed her, and he was an ophthalmologist, and he was arrested and sent to prison." And I was like, "Oh,
Wow.
Courtney would love this story."
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
She can,
I know. I'm sure I've heard it.
Yeah, I'm sure you have.
This
Yeah.
podcast. I always tell Mark if he covers more murder, I would listen to his podcast.
How dare you? Courtney, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having
Thank you,
me.
Courtney.
Courtney.
Thank you,
a lot of
thank
fun.
you.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
She needs to have a weekly segment where she talks about a true crime story.
Yeah, that may not be a bad idea. We could go with that. I think that's not a...
The Mark Thompson Show.
Thanks to everybody who's joining us in the YouTube chat in one way or another. Love your input. What's her favorite detective or murder show? That would have been good. I just saw that now. Well, for the next time, I'll ask her. Courtney, what's your favorite murder show? That was a good question from one of the listeners.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm sort of partial to Dateline because
we
of
have
the
Josh.
family connection. Yeah, Josh and I were actually talking about the Delphi Murders over the weekend, but I really like Dateline. I actually listened to Down the Hill podcast. I should mention that when I was doing some research last night on Delphi just to refresh my memory on the case. But there are a ton of great podcasts, and then of course I love Dateline. So
there's the answer then. Yeah. Hey, we are awkward about pushing another podcast, but I think you have to when it comes to true crime. All right, Courtney, everyone, thank you. Thank you very much.